trying out the Action 4 with the magnetic mount again. It's been a little while since we filmed gym vlog. We're gonna do a dumbbell bench. We've got the 75s here. I did these last week and it didn't feel too bad. Usually 80 is as high as I'll go with the dumbbells, but yeah, we're just gonna see how 75 feels today. It was a little sketchy last week. When I went to set up for my second or third set, I rolled back with the dumbbells and nearly rolled off the bench. So I'm gonna try and be a little bit more locked in today when I'm setting up for my exercise. Plan today is to hit sets of 8, and we're gonna try and hit 5 of those. Last week I did 4 sets of 8. A little bit of a struggle on the 4th set, so we'll see how we're feeling today. So when you're doing a heavy dumbbell bench press, a lot of people don't necessarily know how to set up the exercise, because normally you would just kind of roll back, and if the weight's not too heavy, you can just get it into the start position pretty easily. But if you watch me do this, you'll notice that I kind of kick the weights up with my knees to get them in the start position, so that just saves you a little bit of energy before you go to hit your set, because the last thing you want to be doing is trying to do your exercise and just struggling to get the weight in the start position. So yeah, check this out. So I got them kind of like on the front of my knees here. Just kind of focus up here. Yeah, so that felt pretty good. Okay, so I don't have my watch with me today. I usually try and rest about a minute and a half in between sets. Not too long, but not too short that my muscles can't recover. It's probably been about 2 minutes at this point, so we're gonna hit our second set of 8 here. See how this feels. So yeah, just pick up like 1 dumbbell at a time, get it set on your leg. Do the second one, get it set on your leg. Lock in. I have a bad habit of kind of being a little bit too relaxed on some of my exercises. Like I think I do that to calm myself down, but I think at the same time you want to have a level of intensity when you're trying to hit these heavier weights too, just to keep everything tight. All right, let's go. I think it's been like 2 weeks since I recorded myself talking in the gym, and definitely feeling kind of rusty today. But I've been enjoying kind of making more of the cinematic storytelling type videos for YouTube, especially since getting the FX30. But it's nice to do a little bit more gym content. This is the stuff that I love doing. So usually what I'm thinking about when I'm doing these heavier sets is control all the way through. I'm not trying to lower the weight down super quickly. I want to make sure that I have control on the descent, and then try and explode when I'm pressing the weight back up. All right, so we just finished hitting our 5 sets of 8 on the bench. It went okay. A little bit of a struggle on the last couple reps. I actually wasn't sure if I was going to have to bail on the 8th rep of that last set, but whenever you get into a situation where it feels like the weight isn't moving anymore and your arms are just stuck, kind of take a step back and try and really think about whether or not you can continue like trying to push the weight up by focusing really hard, or if it's safer just to dump the weight to the side if you don't think that you're mentally focused to finish that rep. It's always a weird thing, because if you don't have a spotter, you just don't want to be stuck in that position for too long and possibly injure yourself. But I think I know my body well enough that on a lot of those last repetitions where you're struggling really hard, usually what I'll do is I'll take one big breath in and then start doing a lot of like little short breaths out. So it kind of sounds like, and it's to try and get more, I don't know, tension into my muscles to finish the lift. It doesn't always work out like that, but when you've been lifting for long enough, you kind of know where your fail point is. But anyway, we're doing tricep dips here, but when I do these, I usually lean forward a little bit, and it seems to target the lower portion of the chest. Yeah, actually those felt pretty good. I think I just feel really warmed up right now after doing the bench press. Whew. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I haven't talked to the camera in a couple weeks, and as soon as I hit record, it felt really weird because I'm just so used to filming more cinematic style stuff as of late. But I'm gonna try and mix in some of that into this video here. I've been watching a lot of movie reviews and movie breakdowns on YouTube, and specifically Quentin Tarantino films, and it's given me this whole new perspective on how to film things and how to be more creative and how other people think about the filming process. And I know those are professionals doing a job with a whole crew to help them film, but there's nothing to say that you yourself as a solo creator, you can't do something cool like that. And I've seen a lot of people who are solo creators film really awesome cinematic short films, and one day I would love to be able to film something like that I feel super proud of and post it for people to see and hopefully draw some inspiration from. All right, so the last time I was here, I had my magnetic mount. I had it mounted up to the top of one of the squat racks, and I thought the shot was really cool. So we're just gonna see how this looks like for the dips. Whew. Yeah, I love dips. I find I think that's probably when my bench press strength started going up, is when I started doing dips, but also incorporating weighted dips into my routine, because you don't really realize how much your triceps come into play when you're doing a bench press. So that's a little tip. If you're trying to increase your bench press, maybe focus a little bit more on increasing your tricep strength. So actually my gym membership expired on Tuesday of this week. My gym doesn't auto-renew memberships if you pay for the whole year, so I signed up again for another year this morning, and I'm good to go until next September. The price hasn't changed. I pay after the taxes about $32 a month, and I think that's pretty worth it. The gym is pretty bare bones in terms of the services that they offer with staff, and I think that's how they're able to keep the price down low. You're not going to see personal trainers in the gym. There's just like a couple staff members that work at the front, replace the paper towels and the spray bottles when they get empty. But for the most part, it's just they give you the equipment. They have the gym open 24 hours, so you just scan your card by yourself when you come in, and off you go, which I like, because I find sometimes gyms that have personal trainers, oftentimes the trainers will almost like assert their power over the members that aren't training with them. And not all the time, but like in the past, I found that my old gym, sometimes the trainers would kind of take up a whole area of the gym and block it off from anyone else from using it, even though, you know, they were only using one piece of equipment at a time. It was just kind of annoying, because you might be wanting to use a certain cable machine or something, and the trainer would be there with their client rotating between a bunch of exercises, and then you'd end up having to wait 20-25 minutes before you could use that machine. So I like this gym for the, I guess, the minimalism. So that's 4 sets. Probably try and do one more. So that'll make it 100 total for the dips. And then I'm gonna move back over to the bench area and set up to do an incline dumbbell press. So this is kind of weird. I found a bench that's near a piece of metal that I can stick my mount to, that's away from all the other benches behind me. So this is perfect. Because normally I can't get the camera set up close enough to the bench to get a good close-up shot of what I'm doing. So this will be my first time kind of seeing a bench press from up above. So like we said, we're gonna do and incline bench, and the focus isn't going to be to lift heavy weight. It's just going to be on control and a slower negative on the bench, and maybe even doing a little bit of a pause at the bottom just to get a good stretch in the chest. So I have the 45-pound dumbbells here, and I'm going to see what a set of 10 feels like, and then we'll decide if we want to up the weight or just keep it at what it is. So whenever I set up the incline, I always have the notch set to the very first one, so not much of an incline, just enough to target the upper portion of the chest. And then the way that I set up the incline bench is the same way that I set up my flat bench. I've got the weights on my knees here, and I'm just going to kick them up one at a time. So on the flat bench, I'll kind of kick them up both together. But on the incline, usually what I'll do is I'll kick one weight up, kind of get it set up near my shoulder, and then kick the other weight up. It all happens really quick, so just watch and see. All right, we're probably actually just gonna keep it at that weight. My triceps are a little bit fried from the dips. So I noticed on the right side, this side was starting to get a little bit more fatigued towards the 7th or the 8th rep. So we'll just leave it at this weight. We'll stick to 10 reps and maybe not focus so much on the slow negative, but I think I'll still do the pause at the bottom just to get the stretch. So once again, trying to set up a little bit of a overhead shot to see what this looks like. Yeah, I'm so glad I picked up this mount. I think it might not be for everybody, but if you're wanting to film any kind of content in the gym, I think I'd highly recommend this to you. And obviously it's because of all the metal surfaces that you have to stick them out to, but it just lets you get so many different angles that you wouldn't normally be able to get. Even if you had a tripod, you wouldn't be able to put the action camera up that high to get this kind of overhead shot. So yeah, like I said, kick up one dumbbell at a time. I realize I don't kick it up so close to my shoulder. I kind of kick it up so that my arms almost fully extended, so it just helps to minimize the amount of work that you have to do to get the weight in the start position. I feel like I've been saying that over and over again. All right, here we go. Something I've been trying to pay a little bit more attention to with the videos is how, what direction the previous scene is moving from when I'm transitioning to the next scene. And I've been learning a lot of this from just watching other people doing vlogs and doing little cinematic videos. But for example, let's say I'm doing a bench press movement and I'm lowering the weight down. If I cut to the next shot should have me in the position with the weights right here and then pressing it back up. And it's a very subtle thing to pay attention to, but it makes a huge difference in terms of the audience, in terms of not breaking the audience's concentration on the footage, because everything looks like it's one continuous shot, just moved from one angle to the other. So these are all like little things I've been paying attention to, which are really fun, but there's so many things to remember that I can really only focus on one thing at a time. So usually what I'm doing here is I'm trying to make a little bit of interesting content explaining the kind of exercises I'm doing, but then I'm trying to film enough content so that when I go in to edit the videos later on, I'll have enough footage to play around with to make those kind of seamless transitions. Man, and I realized at the very beginning of my recording for that first, the flat dumbbell press, I was really nervous talking to the camera, I think because I hadn't done it for a couple weeks. Kind of just getting the jitters out right at the beginning. Like I said in the previous video, it usually takes about 20-25 minutes for me just to get warmed up talking to the camera. But after that, all is good. The thing about this camera mount is that the magnet is really strong. I can't, here we go. If you have to reposition it with one hand, it's not always the easiest thing to do because there's 6 really powerful magnets on the back, and it usually takes me a couple hands to pull it off the surface that I've stuck it to. So that's it for all of my free weight stuff. What did I say? I was going to do maybe a cable fly machine, so we'll walk over there and see if anyone's on it right now. Okay, so changed my mind on doing the cable fly. I was going to do a dumbbell fly, but there's not really any good bench to pick to set up the camera so that I can see myself. So here we are on the flat barbell bench, and I had just done one set of 10 with 115 on the bar, and just a pause at the bottom. So nothing too heavy, nothing crazy, just kind of finishing off the chest workout. That was only 9, but my triceps are starting to fail right now, and I probably would have got stuck on that 10th rep. I think it's good that I mostly just stuck with the chest exercises today. Usually I'll try and superset stuff in between my chest exercises, but it takes away from the energy that I have to dedicate to the chest stuff. So yeah, I think it was a good idea just to have that focus today. Let's see if I can stick this here. So here's an example of like how you can use this magnetic mount. So we have these it's like a metal grill to separate one section of the gym from another. And the magnet is strong enough to stick the camera onto that metal fencing. I'm trying to think about what else I can talk about that's not related to the gym. Last night I was looking at different fonts to download to use in my videos. Like I mentioned, I've been watching a lot of movie breakdown videos that are made by people who are filmmakers themselves and trying to explain why certain directors and producers make certain choices in their films. And one of the things that, again, a very subtle thing that maybe not everyone thinks about, or maybe everyone already knows this, is like the way that you use text on the screen can really enhance the quality of your video. If you want some kind of example of this, go to, well, I guess the video I was watching last night was talking about the movie The Hateful Eight by Quentin Tarantino. If you watch the text in the opening credits of that movie, there's like so many little subtle things about the text, like the font that he chose, the color of the font in relation to the color of the scene. And then also there's like a thing that he does with the font at the beginning of that movie where it kind of like, it's a little bit jittery, almost like you're watching the movie as if it was filmed on actual film. Or maybe it was, but it was a really cool effect and added this this imperfect effect that I think I try and chase in a lot of my videos. So maybe this kind of brings me to another point that I might want to talk about. I've had a few people asking what color grading or what LUTs I use in my videos. So I mostly just convert all of my videos from S-Log3 to Rec 709 to start with. And then I have like a whole bunch of free LUTs that I've downloaded. And the one I've been using in my recent videos is called the teal and orange LUT. And then I use DaVinci Resolve to grade all my videos. So before I apply the Rec 709 conversion in the orange and teal LUT, what I'll do is I'll apply a node in DaVinci Resolve to blur the footage. So you'll probably notice a lot of my footage isn't as sharp as you might think it should be coming out of the cameras that I use, because I film everything in 4K and D-Log for the DJI stuff and S-Log for the Sony. But what I do is I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like a Gaussian blur, and I add like a 0.1 or 0.01 blur to all of my footage, and it just makes it so that it doesn't look too perfect. And the one thing that I want to get eventually, I'm just kind of waiting for a sale to pop up, is I think it's called this DaVinci Resolve Studio. So it opens up all of these other features in DaVinci Resolve, like halation effects, film grain, and this thing that I've been playing around with in the demo version. It's called oh my god, I can't remember the name. The Film Look Creator. So it gives you a bunch of presets you can choose from, like a 35mm preset or some of those other things that I don't know anything about. But it just allows you to add imperfections to your footage to make it seem like it's not so artificial, because everything that we're filming on these days is digital. And I mentioned this a long time ago in one of my first vlogging videos, that there's something right now about not wanting everything to be perfect and polished. You might be one of those people that does like seeing perfection in a video, because maybe it takes you out of reality and that's what you want. You want something that looks very, very, I don't know, like something that you wouldn't normally see every day. But I don't know, I've always, maybe it's because I grew up in the time when movies were on VHS tapes. And so, I mean, the quality was only so good on those tapes. But I still go back and watch movies from the 90s, from the early 2000s, and it could just be nostalgia, but I think the way that they look on screen has more emotion, has more character than the movies that come out these days that use either AI or a lot of computer-generated images to create the movie. Decided to come here back to the same thing that I used to do dips, and I'm just going to hit some sets of pull-ups, and then I think we'll call it a day at the gym. And I was trying to think of other things that I've been noticing in people talking about filmmaking that I think are helpful tips for me, and maybe helpful if I share them with you too. So in my more recent videos, I've been trying to use music a little bit more, just to add some more interest to the videos. I don't know if I'm a fan of having music playing throughout an entire video, but definitely in the intro and the outro of the video, I find that's where music really helps to just like engage the audience, and then kind of like set the tone at the very end for someone to maybe want to come back and check out one of your other videos. And then along those same lines, what I've been noticing in the creators that I like to watch is usually there'll be something at the beginning, like maybe some text just to set the stage, some music, and then it'll be something really interesting to watch right up front before they start talking. So it might be like a little montage of something, maybe some like fast cuts of them, doing something. I'm not really sure how to explain it. Like, it's just something to engage the audience to want to stick around to watch the rest of your video. Like, I know a lot of times when I'm going back and reviewing my videos, I'm thinking the stuff that I'm talking about probably isn't relevant to a lot of the people that are watching. Like, I'll talk after this set. Like in a lot of my videos, I'm talking about things related to what I'm doing, like the gym. But not everyone is here for gym content. A lot of people might click on the video because they want to see what does the footage out of the DJI Action 4 look like, or what does the Pocket 3 or the Sony camera look like. So I'm trying to give a bit of a mix of things that I talk about, but when you're vlogging, I think personally that it's easier to talk in the moment versus talk about things that have happened in the past. Sometimes, I guess, unless it was something like what I was doing last night, watching videos about people talking about filmmaking. So like that kind of stuff is really interesting to me, because I'm a big fan of learning how to do things that I don't already know how to do. And filmmaking, creative kind of stuff, that's not my wheelhouse. I feel like it's something that there is some method to it. Like if you don't know how to make a film, someone can kind of walk you through what types of shots you might want to include in the film, how you might want to compose your shots. Something kind of funny that I did today without really thinking too much about it was I was watching a video from somebody, can't remember his name, but he said if you watch movies, pay attention to what colors the characters are wearing in each scene. There's something about the color blue that makes it contrast between the color of the actor's skin. So if you pay attention to this in movies, you might notice in a lot of scenes that the main character in the scene is wearing something blue, or the surrounding characters are wearing something blue. And it's not by accident. All of the choices in costume are intentional by these directors. So that's actually why I picked the blue shirt to wear today. Also, last night I was working on the intro and the outro to the video before I had filmed anything at all. And you'll see the text that I use in the intro and the outro is yellow. And I was thinking, well, blue, I think goes good with yellow. So I'll wear a blue shirt today. And then I also thought the gym that I go to has a bunch of yellow all over the place. So I mean, the blue shirt looked pretty good, but that was it was a conscious decision to wear this shirt today. All right, I hit 2 sets already, so we're gonna hit, I don't know how many did on the first set, maybe 15. We'll do another set here, a 15.